And I guess that means we're recording. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call the order the Public Utilities Commission regular meeting for Thursday, February 8th, 2024. It is 3:30 p.m. And can we begin with a pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, any public input? Don't see any public. Any correspondence? I move that we accept the minutes for the regular meeting of January 11th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Financial report.
All right. So if you notice on the summary page of the financial report for the water department, it looks like a deficit of $1 million. But so far in this fiscal year, the water department has spent $2.9 million on capital projects. As I mentioned last month, we received $1.6 million in a grant for the Bergstrom wells. Tom is in the process of submitting more of the bills. I know recently he submitted for reimbursement from the state $2.2 million. So once we receive that $2.2 million, we'll be back in a surplus position for water. On the sewer side, we're in a deficit position of $360,000. Keep in mind that deficit position is based on what we're billing out, but because of the sewer assessments, we don't bill a lot out on it, but we collect a lot. So the collections for the year so far in the sewer department, which you can see in the detail, is $2.6 million. So when you look what the sewer department has collected versus what its expenses are, we're in a surplus position to the tune of $450,000 or so. Keep in mind that we haven't paid the city of Danbury anything yet for the sewer usage to the sewer plant. Not part of the capital project, but just the annual amount that we pay them for the sewage that runs into Danbury. So we're still waiting on a bill from them on that. So that number would be lower if we had made some payments throughout the year. So, but based on collections versus what we spent, both are in a good spot when you factor in the capital part of the water department.
Okay. Any discussion or comment from the board? I move that we accept the financial report. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I move that we accept and pay our invoices for the total of $418,805.29. Any discussion? Basically, Tom, these are all just what's on track to pay for Bergstrom.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
monthly construction, it's
All
the
right.
monthly construction admin.
Gentlemen, do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. New business. We have a consideration of proposal for sanitary sewer evaluation survey for February 13th. Tom, you'll cover that?
Yeah, this is the sanitary sewer evaluation for sub area 13. Richard asked where there's a major trunk line within 13 that runs. It picks up the sewers off of 53, kind of down by the animal shelter, runs along the brook, crosses South Street, crosses Parloa Park or along that brook, comes out somewhere across Greenwood Avenue, and then gets behind Elgin where the brook is there. So we previously did the sanitary survey evaluation for 9, 12, and 15 all in one shot. And then the next one we did was 14. Sub area 13 was the next one on the list. So I'm looking to get the study going there, which really, if you flip to page 5, that's kind of the heart of what it includes. It's flow isolation. It's CCTV inspections with cleaning and manhole inspections along with the report and traffic. But just in terms of the CCTVing and the cleaning of the lines, it's, you're getting you're getting preventative maintenance right there in doing this. So this should point out any leakages in pipes and, any manholes that might need some repairs, which again, with our flows up due to all this rain we're getting, we're suspecting that the manholes that are along those brooks are probably surcharging and with the groundwater table as high as it is. So this, this is the right time to do it. They like to do this in the spring when the water table's up. So basically, the agreement has to get approved by DEEP, and then once they approve it, then you can sign it with the engineer and then get going on it. So I would recommend if you're inclined to approve, make it subject to DEEP approval and town attorney review.
Will do.
And the engineer did indicate, they kind of come up with some rough numbers. And when you take the total and you just divide it out by the linear feet of pipe to come up with like a metric, I think they had told us previously it was on the order of $4 to $5 a foot. And this cost here with the contractor, the CCTV, the manhole inspections, and the flow isolation, this number works, it backs into about almost $8 a foot. And, he says the contractor prices have gone up quite a bit. And I think Pembroke just bought one of those Vector trucks, and I think they commented basically what some of that equipment's costing them these days. It's really getting up there.
Hey, Tom. Now my understanding too is Weston and Sampson Engineers Incorporated is pretty much our engineering firm that we use for everything.
Yeah, for sewer, correct.
For sewer. So I guess, one of the questions that I would want to ask, is it in order that we do a bid waiver or anything, or do we have to worry about that, or can we go with it as a PUC?
I don't think we need the bid waiver because through the state, getting the money through the state, they want you to do that. We did that early
That
on.
order out, so it's been going on for a while. Okay.
Yeah, it's qualification based, so it's not really based on a price or a bid. So we've done that, and they haven't indicated that it's got to be done again. So
Right, okay.
I'll make the motion. If you have something.
Well, I just had written it down now.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So I moved that we accept the proposal from Weston and Sampson Engineering, contingent on DEEP and town council approval, up to $286,127.79.
If I can just add to that, subsurface area 13.
Okay, for subsurface area 13. Okay, guys, a friendly amendment. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone no opposed, motion carries.
and one thing I could
Yeah.
mention that I probably should have, there is, well, no, it didn't really impact the motion, but
Yeah.
it is subject to a grant. So
Yes,
the planning grant on these is like 55%. So we'd be looking at that total of 286, the grant piece being 157,000. So the town piece would be 128.
excellent.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Does that change anybody's opinion?
No.
I would entertain a motion to
It's
reconsider.
even better.
I think it's even better. Yeah, I knew that from the other day, but you're right. You should have mentioned it. Outstanding. Okay, under new business, MIU replacements.
Okay, this is something we've talked about for quite a while, and I was not at the last meeting, but basically I think the decision was let's go ahead and put out a request. So with that, Kelly worked up something and we decided to basically go down to some local contractors that, we're familiar with their work. They're local, they're in town, and let's just see, what we get. So we put together a request. At the bottom of that first page, I put in what their prices were. We sent it out to 4. the low price came in from Tom Keen Landscaping. He did much better than the other two prices we got. So the other thing I included there was basically the notification we sent out to customers. It's on the website. We did a robocall. And then the last page is just kind of a financial impact based on an assumption of we get Tommy Keen's guys working for 6 weeks. We're getting 2 guys. And I'll let Kelly speak to what they're doing and how they're doing it. But so for 6 weeks, 2 guys would be 25, almost 26,000. We have 300 MIUs. If we bought another 500, we'd be looking at another 70. So we're upwards of 95,000 now on the MIU replacements. And we typically, since they're used for both water and sewer, we usually budget it and split it in half to go into water, half go into sewer. But I'll let Kelly speak to, what he's doing on a daily basis with the guys.
So, Tommy's got 2 guys, so he's got, I don't want to call them 2 crews, but he's got 2 guys going around. They're in their own Tommy's vehicles. They have, postings on the side of their truck that say subcontractors for the Bethel Utility Department. They're also wearing vests, same thing, subcontractors for the town of Bethel. They're doing all the outside MIUs now. I don't want them in the homes right now because we've got to get appointments to go inside the homes. A majority of them. A lot of people are not around during the day. So I've broken the whole list of 1,084 MIUs that need to be changed. I've broken them down by streets. I've got 4 or 5 different lists. Actually more than that. It's probably about 12 lists. I've given one to each one of my guys. They've been going out, changing whatever they can, and also marking which ones they need appointments to get into. The 2 guys from Tommy Kane's group, they've been averaging a little over 30. Between the 2 of them, they're averaging a little bit over 30 a day, like almost 35. Which I've only got records for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And they've got 100 of them on the way. So we're ahead of that. Also, if they can't find the MIUs, they're marking as appointments. So now I will take that and hand it into Paula, and she and her girls can get appointments made. The reason I'm going for just the outsides now, I want to get more bang for my buck because Paula wants to get the new numbers, as many of them, the new readings into this cycle, which her bills are going out next Wednesday. So of the 1,000, like 200 of them are actuals instead of being estimated. And then we'll reevaluate after we can get all the outside meters done. Now, right now, I have a little over 100 MIUs, and like Tom said, I'd like to order 500 more of the MIUs. Those will handle all the insides and outsides. Just in a perfect world, if we get them done by the next billing cycle, we'll only have to worry about our pits. That's a different type of MIU because it's underground and it's more of a sealed unit. And then we can reevaluate when we get to the pits and get those done now, or at that time. But I think we're on a good spot. Had a talk with the guys. What we're doing is I give these guys a list. They work the list. They make a copy of it the following morning. I hand all the lists to Santos. He's the one that's got the reader and the iPad that can go around to make sure they're all working. Of the 100, I found 4 that weren't working that had new MIUs, which tells me that there's something else going on, either a bad meter head or the wiring inside the house. So we have to get appointments for those. But like I said, I asked that you would, wherever we find the money, whether we find it, I know there's grant money available now coming back into the cooperatives. But I'd like to get 5 more meters, which is 500 more MIUs, which will cost us about 70. Actually, it'll cost us 70,000 or 140 meters. But I feel the way these guys are going, And hopefully, we can get as much done before they go back to their seasonal work, which I'm guessing the beginning of April is we're gonna probably have them until the beginning of April. And then if Tommy's got the guys available, maybe I could leave them, helping out with the pits too. But, we're in a good place. The guys are hitting, our own guys are between high reads, faulty meters, just finishing up the back well. They all have lists that they know, if whatever they have for spare, that they're not doing their regular duties. They're hit lists. So between of course, we're down a man, but between our guys and Tommy's guys, we're in a good place. I think we're gonna get ahead of this. I'm not gonna tell you that we're gonna be down to zero on these estimated reads because
You're gonna have others failing in the meantime, too.
Right.
Correct.
But I think
We're getting ahead of the.
I think we changed about 700 of them, Rich, over the past probably the year or so. We got 3,900 customers, and now we've got 1,000. We got a lister with 1,000 in them. I think for once we're going to be ahead of the.
And all the new developments, the Summit, who else? The Crossing. None of those should be in the failure mode yet. So, it's the oldest ones I think that are going. So I think if we can catch up.
There's a number for all these MIUs, and if they start with 10,000, those are the ones that are failing. I'll bet you 95% of them are all 10,000. So those are from the original installation done. I think they were done in 2001 or 2002. So we're on point now.
I have a question either for Tom or we had appropriated more money than the last budget.
We did.
So what was it 25,000 each we added?
I think we bumped each one to 40,000.
20 from each account or 40.
I think we started out, Kelly and I were budgeting 20,000 a piece for meter maintenance.
Right.
And I think we bumped it to 40,000 a piece.
So there's
So right now, I think,
there's 80,000 right there.
well, we've spent some of that already, but, let's see, in water, oh no, I don't have it's in the financial report.
Tom,
Yeah.
on the water side and meter maintenance, the budget is 40. So far of that, 24,000 has been spent.
So we have 16 of them,
And on the sewer side,
about the same.
40,024 has been spent.
So 16.
So
So as far as budgeting wise, my thought was on the sewer side, I've got a couple of capital projects. One, the Paul Street roof. I haven't even been able to really get to doing anything with that. I would say we substitute the money we were going to spend on that on this, and that covers us for sewer. On the water side, with the reimbursements we were going to get, we have that transfer out number of over 700,000. That will cover anything we're going to spend here. So
Right.
I think bottom line, budget wise, we're going to be
Okay.
more than fine.
It's worth making a note that when, given this situation of what we've been talking about this forever, when these numbers came to me, I did ask Tom to get Tom Keen on it right away to see what we would get. So that number of 35 a day is what I was hoping to get. And we will still need to do a motion to do this long term. Like if we're gonna go through 6 weeks, we'll have to do a motion and a vote on that. But I kind of started this before we voted on it, just to see what he got.
I don't
Per day,
I don't
just
have
so-
a problem with that, but I think you have to eliminate what was already done off the proposal. Right? Out of the total proposal.
Well, I think the proposal will be to get him to retain Tom Keen landscaping
Right.
until the beginning of April.
Right.
And then do we vote, or maybe do we day, and then on a per diem basis as needed.
Now, what
Right.
what do we have to do to take the ones that are inside the house to bring them outside?
Yeah, I don't know about that. You mean if they're wired inside, get them outside?
It's time and labor.
I understand it, but I know in the city of Danbury, when I put a big meter in, they sent a guy right away to put the remote right outside.
You gotta rewire it. You gotta now,
Oh, yeah. but
you gotta put new wires from where the meter is. Now you gotta drill holes through their siding, go
Oh, yeah, but
outside.
I mean,
right?
if you get permission from the people to do it, it's a lot easier to put all the remotes outside.
Sure.
So I guess the question is, while we replace them, the inside ones, should we be bringing them outside? Is that our goal? I don't know.
My thought would be, let's get them replaced this go around. At some point,
No,
we're gonna have to probably change out
No,
meters,
what I'm just saying.
the physical meter.
And that's when we do the rewiring.
I would say maybe that's the time, because you're gonna spend a lot of money on that.
Because you can't get inside these houses, and these people
Right.
aren't there. I understand. Primary, get the exterior ones done.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have more. Understand, and I have a problem with it.
The thought is get them all replaced and we'll save time and get more done in that short window of time.
And what's the life of them? 10 years,
20 years.
20 years?
Give or take, you know, plus or minus.
20 years. And
Well, we don't have to worry about
That's
it.
how long the first.
Yeah, that's point.
Yeah.
over the 20 years period, the guys, when they don't have anything to do in the winter, they can go back and rewire the ones.
You don't have to worry about 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe we can give homeowners a break on their water bill, have them do it for us.
Okay.
Okay,
You
so,
you got a motion?
yeah, so, I would move that, we retain Tom King Landscaping, for a period of 6 weeks for, full-time removal meters and on a per diem basis thereafter. If the board decides to take action after that.
Second.
You may want to say up to 6 weeks. I don't know that Tom has committed to 6 weeks. That was me
Oh.
coming up with an estimate. I just
Okay.
wanted to throw a number.
All right, so.
It's kind of up to him
So
too.
the 6 weeks is what, the, first week of April? Because we're 1 week in.
Yeah, this construction doesn't start until April 1st anyway, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm just making a spring cleanup.
That would get us to close to April 1.
5, 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. We'll say 7 weeks. That's or April 1st.
I was just suggesting up to 6 weeks is what I was
Up
saying.
to
We got
6
that.
weeks is, I think we want to keep them on the hook
Yes.
probably till April 1st.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit longer than 6 weeks is what I'm saying.
okay.
Okay, so, I move that we retain Tom King Landscaping for a period up to April 1st to replace meters. I think it's really.
MUIs, replace it.
MIUs.
Oh, replace MIUs.
Meter interface
Yeah,
units.
Thank you. Replace MIUs. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now,
Can you get
with
the
respect
extra
to the order-
MIUs in time?
Yeah, I'll order them in the morning.
do we need a separate motion for ordering 500 new meters? Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I move that we instruct the utility supervisor to order 500 more MIUs to complete the replacement process. Go to second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And just so the commission's aware, everyone, well, not everyone, but anyone that should receive a call from any of the homeowners, to see someone walking around their yard, they know what streets we're on. I've updated the PD as we change streets, so the dispatchers know. The OMC for the daytime knows it at the PD, as well as Public Works, the front office, and the tax collector's office. So we're adjusting to the people so that they're aware that we're out there.
Okay.
And the trucks are well known.
It's a big white metallic with big letters saying that they're a subcontractor of the utilities department. So it looks pretty good.
Okay. I'm putting in my note to put it in the newsletter tomorrow. I missed it this past week. Okay, director's report.
Okay, I wanted to put a specific item on here. Plum Trees Road Pump Station. We had a pump failure and I'll let Kelly get into that a little bit more. But I also then wanted to bring up the rental of an emergency bypass pump for the Plum Tree Station. I wasn't comfortable just living off of one pump that's also 14 years old. And the flows from Plum Trees are significant enough that our local, Pembroke Pumping would not be able to keep up. So basically, in order to not have to deal with any kind of, or eliminate any kind of environmental situation if the pump failed. We went ahead with a pump rental, a Godwin pump through Kovacs, like they do for us when we bypass Paul Street. So, the bypass is in place. The pump's been delivered. They're gonna have it hooked up tomorrow. And at least while we're waiting for a new pump to come in, we have backup and if that one pump that we have fails.
How long is it gonna take to get a pump?
We ordered one a week ago, and at that time, they said it would take 4 weeks. Originally, it was 6 weeks, so we're really 3 weeks out right now.
And what's the rent on a generator?
Okay, I gave you that third sheet of what I gave you guys. The emergency standby pump, with fittings, controls, all the hoses and everything else was about 15,000. And it was about 8,000 to set up and also break down. So it was 4,000 to set it up, 4,000 to break it down. So I'm looking at a total of 23,000. The setup and the breakdown, the estimate was based on 3 guys, 8 hours. It may not quite take them that much. The estimate was also based on a ballpark for a crane of 1,000. That may not come in at that particular price. And then the other thing that may save us some is I set up a municipal account with Xylem. That's the company they get the Godwin pumps from. So if it was rented through Kovacs, she'd have to charge me tax on it. So we just gave them a credit app and they're going to transfer the rental agreement. Instead of through Kovacs, it'll come directly through us. We'll save on the tax. So I anticipate that 23,000 coming in less than that.
Is this the same size pump that we would need at Paul Street if we had an emergency at Paul Street?
They told me that it would be this would work for that.
And what does a pump cost?
I have a request in for a capital.
Because it might be
Well,
feasible in the future to have our own standby pump.
and I thought of that. One of the implications with that is it's real expensive. She thought it could be 150 to 200 grand, but the other thing too is if you don't use the pump frequently enough and it's just sitting, that may not be the best thing for it.
Seals and stuff, yeah.
So
I'm just curious.
as far as plum trees, my thought is the cost of the new pump is like 30-something thousand.
Have another
Okay.
pump.
It might be worthwhile, maybe in next year's budget, we buy a third pump.
Mhm.
And now that would alleviate us probably having to rent this pump for plum trees. We still gotta look at a couple of specifics, because I think the 2 pumps are a little bit different down in plum trees. So,
Do they alternate?
oh yeah. Yes, they do.
Lead and lag? Do they do lead and lag? or-
I don't think 2 pumps ever run. I think they just alternate the lead. Once one is the lead, the next cycle 2 is the lead, I believe.
Right, I think we found that out when we found the generator would not run both sides. Remember a few years back, we found that out and we never had 2 running at the same time.
No, that might be the way to go, is to have a spare pump sit in that building.
Now the thing is.
Yeah, I'll let Kelly explain.
What happened, this happened the weekend that we got that overnight rain of about 5 inches of water. Paul Street was going 18 hours full strength. This one was going full strength. We do our amp check on that, on all the pumps, and the amperage was where it needed to be. This pump went underwater for a long time, and what happened was we had a seal fail, and when they broke the pump up, the oil was like mud, so water got into the motor. At the same time, the pump kept on going into overamps and shutting down. So we had Blake come out and pull the pump, and it was, to rebuild it, it was like $27,000. For a new one, it was $33,000. There was some damage to the claw where it goes in. So it must have picked up something heavy, and it jammed up the pump, and it did damage to the housing of the pump. The claw that it sits on when it goes down the rails, that was worn and damaged. There was a broken bolt in there. What was the other? There was one other thing. Well, of course, the oil being all contaminated from the sewage. This thing was locked up solid. So they took it back, took it apart, and that was when they said it was gonna be 32,000 for a new one or 27 to rebuild it. The pump's well over 10 years old. We've had no problems with either one of the pumps at all. But whatever happened during this storm, the amperage, it spiked, so that's when it wouldn't even work. It kept on shutting down. We were hoping it was something in the controls in the building, but it wasn't. The pump was locked right up. Now, if you remember when we did Paul Street, it had two types of pumps. One was a recirculator, which somehow made the pump much bigger and much heavier. We're operating on the other pump right now, which I think is gonna be a little, if next year we go to buy the pump that we're running on now as a backup, I think it's gonna be less than 33,000 because it doesn't have the circulator in it. So that's a plus.
What if, so we were talking about this too in the office about the two pumps.
Yeah.
The recirculating pump though, if we turn around and buy a backup pump, what's the recirculator pump is the next
We
one?
may not need it because what it does, Dan, is it takes the part of the discharge and instead of putting it into the discharge line, it keeps things agitated
It
inside.
agitates
Right.
it.
Keep stuff off the walls and I
Right,
get that, yeah.
right. And that's what, and you could look at it and you could tell that it does what it's supposed to because it was pretty clean in the wet well. there.
Right. My point is this, if we buy a backup pump, we wouldn't, we're only buying a backup for this pump, not the circulator pump, right? They're a different pump. The circulator's
Yeah,
not.
yes, one has a circulator,
The
one
other one
doesn't.
doesn't. Okay.
And so we'd have to distinguish, what I want to make sure is that we can use pump 2 in pump 1 slot. I mean, this is something we need to research for next.
Gotcha.
year.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
But other than that,
Okay.
I mean.
Was it excess water buildup that got in there?
Yes, it got in through a seal or something, but I think because it was underwater for so long and working so hard. But like I said, the oil looked like mud. If you ever saw transmission fluid where the transmission fluid mixes with the antifreeze, you get that pink milk. Well, this was a black milk, chocolate milk. But again, these pumps were over 10 years old and we've never had a problem. We check the amperage periodically to make sure there's no issue.
Or what
And it
happened
never
was
overamped.
that pond actually went across the road. It
Yeah.
looked like, the road looked like one big pond.
Yeah, and of course, the controls got wet also because of the junction box that was outside of it. Because of the water being that high, that stuff got wet. But it did get into the pump over time. Usually when something like that's, and it's no issue with the pump itself, we'll have it, I think the slang word is baked, where they actually dry out the windings and check the windings, but we're past it on this one.
probably when it was designed, we probably should have wanted submergible pumps.
Yeah.
Not that new one we went to see.
When they come to deliver the new pump, my thought is, while they're there, is maybe lift that pump up out of the existing pump, lift it up out of the hole, hose it down, at least put a visual on it and see what it looks like.
Another story about that pumping station.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to have that one over a beer.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, we can do that. We're not at once. So at some point we'll have an invoice for these. We can just approve the invoice on the next one, next meeting.
Yeah.
Let's do it that way. That's fine. Okay. I make a motion to accept the director's report. Are you finished, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business, PUC capital project status.
Okay, really, it's the Bergstrom project. I think Brad mentioned, I'm looking for like 2.2 million coming back as a payment reimbursement. And basically I'll just keep up now on a monthly basis, whatever our Kovacs and Wright Pierce bills are, then I'll submit for those. So we should pretty much be able to stay on track. Basically 1 month lag. As the project's going, we have a few change orders we're looking at, or at least potential change orders. The big one that's coming is going to be the PFAS piping. We talked about that. What if we need to basically provide PFAS treatment? And we did some piping mods coming off the filters, also so they could get them outside of the footprint of the building and the foundation walls. So that one, we're still looking at it, but it looks like the number is going to be around 63,000 with the pipe, the labor, the concrete, the stone.
But you already
materials.
ran the pipe out, that was anticipated, right?
No, at the time it was, hey, what are we doing with PFAS? We may have
We
to,
talk about- Yeah,
so they,
I thought we were talking about that pipe going outside to begin with.
there was not going to be, we
Then
weren't,
at the beginning of the project, a couple months ago, when you decided you were gonna put the pump up, the underground pipe to get to the tank.
I think that might have been, about the wells, because we put a new valve into wells. And we picked an area where we were able to, be able to do it outside the existing wells at the well field. I think that might be what you're talking about, because we did discuss that a couple months ago. If we ever had to
Oh.
put a system into the wells,
you're talking about at Maple.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
I think that might be.
Yeah, this was back in like, I don't know, when they were getting ready to do the foundation. And we knew we started seeing these people, when EPA came out with their proposed regs
Yeah.
before. They're like, oh, what are we gonna do if we have to treat? The building would be all self-contained, all the concrete slabs would be in and all of that. So they modified a little bit of the piping coming off the filters.
Right,
They ran a pipe outside
all right.
and then they put a valve in with a blind flange, a valve to another pipe going back in.
That's right, that's what I was talking
So
about.
we never got the price quote on any of that. So now they've submitted it. So they did make a mistake the first go around. She made a mistake on how much concrete she used. So our number was like, I don't know, 70 something thousand. She had an extra zero on the end of, I think, $1,500 worth of concrete. She had 15,000. I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't look right. So that one's coming. We don't have it yet. One though that we do have that we went ahead and approved was for some additional, a 10-inch valve, some piping and a new hydrant on the finished water side, and then swapping out the 4-inch yard hydrant coming off the well with a full flow hydrant.
Yeah, we already talked.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't actually approve, I didn't get the change order to sign off on yet. So that one had like a 30,675 number. So we're still within, even with both of those, we're still within the contingency.
Do we have those actual change orders?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all part of the paperwork and the
Okay.
plans and everything.
So quick question regarding the second change order. You're seeing with the concrete charge,
Oh,
it was in our favor?
no, she had to resubmit it, that's all. It was, a
Okay.
lot of times they're back and forth. So the number that she calculated, she just had the wrong number in there.
Meaning they had more than what?
Correct, it
So
wasn't,
it's in our
it
favor.
wasn't correct. Yes, it was in our favor.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
It was at zero.
I mean, it's not in our favor because it's 63, but it's better than
Well,
78.
then there's 63, but then the other one was a concrete issue. Or is this the same change order?
No, two change orders. The
Okay.
PFAS piping.
Right. So my question with PFAS piping, I know that we're looking at the legal part of this and being able to submit for claims and things like that. Do you think that one's gonna fall under the separate claim?
Yes.
Nice. So,
Yes.
nice. We'll get
Don't know if it'll get accepted or not.
Yeah. But it's good.
The thing that might go against us is the one result I have off of that well.
Yeah.
We're below the 4 parts per trillion. So the answer early on may be, you don't even know that you need to do it.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So we'll have to see how that
We'll see how
plays.
it plays out. Okay.
I have a question
Yeah.
on the plant. What's their theory of how they're gonna get rest of that plastic pipe in the ground?
They just started again.
They did.
So
They think about putting any well points in and pump the
I
water
don't,
down?
I don't know how they're going to address that at this point. Where they left off at the soccer field.
Yeah.
They're now they're pumping it out, getting it in the ground, getting stone under it, getting stone over it, getting it backfilled. When they get to the point where they got to do the culvert,
Yeah.
they know they're up against it. I don't know exactly how they're going to dewater that.
Right.
That's kind of their means and
That was
methods.
probably a thought that they wish they didn't do now. And putting ductile pipe in would have been a lot easier. Putting a length in at a time.
Well,
You work in a trench box too that way.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna go about it.
As long as they're working on it.
Yeah,
And I thought they might be coming back with a change order.
I don't know that just because the groundwater table's up, that warrants a change order. So we'll see if they want to submit something and we'll go back and forth with it. But anyway, they have restarted on that.
I stopped down every now.
Because basically, Park and Rec is gonna need the field.
Right,
So I gave them April 1.
Yeah.
Sometime in April is when they're gonna need the field.
and then if they can do some cleanup too in the rest of the pile, so the baseball people can use that
Yeah,
area.
I think, well, over where the pile is now and where that backwash recycle tank is, they've got the the residuals pump station and they've got the sanitary pump station set. So once those are in now he's gonna get rid of the pile so he can get the sewer line connected. So that's kind of, because then also that's where Eversource is coming in to drop those overhead poles. Eversource is giving us power along where those dirt piles are. So again,
Run some poles down there.
they're gonna run 2 poles and then I think we're getting overhead transformers and then a riser going into the building. And the building has a date of, I think, early April for delivery of the metal building. So all of that's gotta happen so that, the pile's gotta get out of the way so the power can come in. And then, hopefully spring, we're starting to see something enclosed where they're working inside.
There's a lot of piping in that small foundation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could- Holy cow.
Speaking of PFAS, you want
Yeah.
to go into the class action update?
Sure.
Anything to say?
Yeah, my report was gonna be, we sent the samples out to the lab because with the PFAS class action, you've got to sample all of your sources. So we had to sample Chestnut, Eureka, the old well number 1 and well number 2, and Mountain Pond. So my report was gonna be, we sent the samples out. I should have the results in about a week or so. I got the results today. So I haven't really had a chance to compile them. We definitely have some more hits and the biggest number we saw was like a 6. 4s, 6s, 2s. So the other sources did, the only one that didn't have any, that had all non-detects was Mountain Pond.
Wow.
So the 2 reservoirs actually had hits on it too.
The fishery, they're all.
So I just spoke with Melanie. She wants me to get us registered because I guess only one person can be the contact. She suggested let it be me. And then this way, anything I get through them, I'll copy Dan, I'll copy you and Melanie. And then I just need to compile now all of our flow data in a nice spreadsheet. I'm waiting for Justin to kind of get me back some of the years that I don't have. I don't have like 2013, 2014. So he's got to fish through the old computer and find those. And then we'll be able to file a claim.
Okay,
So that's it.
good stuff.
Yep.
Utility supervisor's report.
Couple things, I had a main break this past month on, Quan, number 3 Quan, and a circle break going underneath, a storm sewer crossing. I don't have that
What
taken
street?
care of.
Quan.
Off of, Spring Hill, between, Spring Hill and, Woods Hill,
Something by governors.
Oh, okay.
just up from Tommy Galliford's house, so got that back in order.
Sure, I know, right.
Had a service leak up on, Midway. That was pretty wild. In the middle of January, they had the greenest grass you ever realized. And the people finally reported it to us because we never saw it. And, that was fixed within a couple of days. It was a service leak, on our side. And the other thing is on the sewer side, all the wet wells have been cleaned, this past week. So, that's part of our quarterly, cleanup we do in there. That's all I have, just the two situations.
You called the first line a circle break, meaning the whole.
Yeah, it's, they call it a 360 break.
Yeah, whole pipe.
Yeah, a lot of times a circle break will happen with weather change.
Right, temperature. And
You know, the new ductile iron is made to bend a little bit. The old cast iron, if the ground
Yeah.
moves, they just pop. And it's a very simple repair. It's just the point that a lot of pressure there.
And it broke right next to a storm drain. So it was getting,
To the
it
ground.
didn't surface, it went right into the drain.
Yeah.
We saw it in the pump station.
I move we accept the supervisor's report, utility supervisor report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any other further discussion or anything? Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned at 4:15 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Spin the pipe.